Hi everyone, I'm Dave Edwards, and I'm with the other Dave, the well-known David Allen of GTD fame. David, always great to talk to you.
Hi, Dave. Always fun. Yay. Let's see where it goes.
You were, as you said, a guy who was traveling 200 times a year, which just is exhausting for me just to think about. But there are so many people who have done that for so many years. It's just part of their lifestyle. And I'm just wondering if, I mean, over time, you were probably able to develop your GTD system so that it was flexible enough to be with you and be effective, whether you were in your home base or whether you were on an airplane. Um, but walk us through that a little bit. What are the key things that we need to think about so that we have an effective system no matter where we are, whether we're 30,000 feet in the air or sitting at our desk?
Well, over time, one small little example is the fact that I, split my at computer context of next actions into online and not online, because even now still, the kind of funky connections when you're on a plane. And since I spent so many hours on the plane, and they were very constructive times, because it's like you know, plane time was actually some of my more productive time in terms of being able to have the right context for doing both creative writing, doing weekly reviews, doing updating, all kinds of things, as well as watching new movies, that I hadn't had time to watch, if I was on a across the pond, long plane trip. So, so yeah, so that was an example, because on the plane, I didn't need to even look at my online list, of things that I needed to do online. So that was an example, and obviously a travel checklist. Even 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 once I had that done, there are times, especially when I went on a short trip, like a 1 day or day and a half or whatever, and I was going to fly right out and then fly right back. I said, I don't need a travel checklist. I know what to throw in my little travel log, and I still forgot stuff. So it took me a long time to even train myself to say, David, come on, duh. You know, I don't care how short the trip is, print the travel checklist out and run through it real quick to make sure you don't forget anything. So
Yeah.
I still had to, train myself even after all that time to make sure I use my own system instead of relaxing too much and trusting that I knew what to do because I'd done it so much. Wrong answer.
One of the things that has been key to your system are the different folders that you have maintained and have advised people to maintain, whether they are sort of an inbox folder versus an action support list folder. Do you
Yeah.
basically have you basically used the same folders at your home desk, and that when you travel, you just kind of move them into your briefcase? Travel. There it is.
Travel, because I don't care. I'm just old and cranky, and I don't trust the digital phone to hold all my documents. You know,
Okay.
so Catherine and I now have a trip coming up. We're now doing trains. Uh,
Ah,
she loves the train. I love the train. So we're doing a train trip to Berlin and to Basel. And so, those are printed out. You know, those tickets are in here, as well as any relevant document for the trip, that I might need, that I only need to see once I'm on the road or as I'm traveling. So yeah, basically a travel checklist, and you'll see it's on the top, and it's also titled on the bottom because it sits inside my second folder, my sort of pending folder, so that I don't have to see the open thing. I just see the bottom.
smart.
So it's much easier to do that, as well as action support, as well as my waiting for support. And those are, plastic folders that, I've just created because they're just I still need relevant documents. Even here in the Netherlands, you know, action support, even though I've got the appointment, to go do it, uh, to pick up my renewed driver's license, for instance. I just was there yesterday, at the city government offices, to apply for my re-up. My license, my Dutch license just expired, or will expire in June, so I needed to re-up. So, so I've got the appropriate documents for that. I have an appropriate document for picking up for refilling antibiotic cream thing, whatever. And so I've got there's still a good reason to have physical folders. This is much easier than trying to find any of that stuff digitally. I mean, that's crazy. And not only that, you need the printout stuff, certainly over here, every once in a while. So, being equally comfortable with paper and digital is, I think, critical for, any of that. I don't think you're not going to get rid of that anytime soon.
So now let's excuse me, let's use your action support folder as an example there. Now, obviously you have a lot of stuff in there that, relates to your life, in the Netherlands. When you and your wife go on that train trip, will you take that entire folder with you just in case something like comes up?
No, that would just go on my travel folder that I would have with me.
Okay.
I'd look through this, say, is there any of this action support stuff that I might need? If I was going on a long trip where I might need some of that.
Well, I'm just thinking back to the days when you were traveling for GTD consistently, and you were going to workshops, conferences, and you might be coaching an executive along the way. Did you find yourself bringing a lot of the folders, that related to non-conference or like you were going there to speak to a conference, so you maybe had a folder with your script and things like that in there. But did you also bring other action support things just in case you were on the plane and you had a chance to work on a project? How would you balance what you brought and what you didn't?
No, I don't think I ever did that, because anything I was doing that was non-specific to clients or events, would be in my computer. So
okay,
didn't need. If I did, I would have it for sure. But
so how did you balance what you kept in paper versus what you kept on your computer?
Or whatever was the easiest, whichever one that was the easiest to access, if I needed it. So didn't make much difference to me. I mean, obviously, as the world became more digitalized and PDF'd, then, a lot of that I only need on the computer. But many times, especially if you're walking around or you're face-to-face, whatever, the computer and the phone is not the place to have, critical documents that you might need for, whatever, either for the meeting or for the appointment.
GTD is a wonderful and powerful tool. I've been using it for decades. But if you read David Allen's book or see any of his seminars, you'll quickly find out that it was designed for paper-based systems. Allen told me once that it's platform agnostic, but he likes the paper-based approach. Well, that's not practical for everyone. Within 1 year, I started traveling a lot for my job, and it wasn't easy to transport all my files with me. That led me to figure out how to create a digital GTD system. So I've created an hour-long, on-demand course on the subject. Find out more at daveedwardsmedia.com. Click on courses